Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. This is Gloria White, and I'm coming to you from Utah, USA. Today I'm in the book of John in chapter 19 in the New Testament in a King James Version of the Holy Bible. Chapter 19. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. Now, a scourge is a whip, a Roman type of whip, where it had the handle, and there would be like 3 strands of leather that would come from that, and on that would be metal balls, and they'd be rough, and they would rip and tear the skin, and so that's what a scourge is. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. And the soldiers platted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe. And they said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they smote him or hit him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again, and saith unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him. Then Jesus came forth wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate saith unto them, Behold the man! When the chief priests therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him! Crucify him! Pilate saith unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall, and saith unto Jesus, Whence art thou? But Jesus gave him no answer. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have the power or authority to crucify thee, and have the power or authority to release thee? Jesus answered, Thou couldst have no power or authority at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivereth me unto thee hath the greater sin. Saying the Jews have the greater sin. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him. But the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the Pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour. And he said unto the Jews, Behold your king! But they cried out, Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him! Pilate saith unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. Then delivered he him therefore unto them to be crucified. And they took Jesus and led him away. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 other with him, one either side one. meaning one on either side of him, and Jesus in the midst, or in the middle of them. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh or near to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. Then said the chief priest of the Jews to Pilate, Write not, the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am King of the Jews. And Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. And he's not going to change it. Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also his coat or his robe. Now the coat or robe was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore among themselves, Let us not rend it or tear it, but cast lots for it, those in the whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which saith, They parted my raiment, or garments, among them, and for my vestiture they did cast lots, or his clothing, his robe. These things therefore the soldiers did. Now, that is a prophecy, and you can find it in Psalms 22:18. Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by, whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he to the disciple, Behold my mother. And from that hour that disciple took her unto his own home. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, saith, I thirst. Now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, or sour wine, and they filled a sponge with the vinegar, or the sour wine, and put it upon hoopsa, and put it to his mouth. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar or sour wine, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost, or his spirit. The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was a high day, sorry guys. Verse 31. The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was a high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. So they were hanging there on the crosses, and the Jews didn't want them to hang there on the Sabbath day, so they were prepared to break their legs that would kill them, that would cause their death. so that bodies could be taken down before the Sabbath. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs. And that's a prophecy, and it's you can find it in Exodus 12:46. Um, uh, yeah, Exodus 12:46, Numbers 9:12, and Psalms 34:20. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith, or right away, immediately, came there out blood and water. And he that saw it bare record, and his record is true, and he knoweth that he saith true, that ye might believe. For these things were done, that the scripture should be fulfilled. A bone of him shall not be broken. And you can find that in Exodus 12:46, Numbers 9:12, Psalms 34:20. Then again, and another scripture saith, they shall look on him whom they pierced. And that can be found in Psalms 22:16, 17, Zechariah 12:10, and 13:6. Sorry, guys. Verse 38. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but secretly for fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave him leave or approval. He came therefore and took the body of Jesus. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Jesus by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds in weight. Then took they the body of Jesus, and wound it in linen, or wrapped it in linen clothes, with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, or a tomb, wherein was never man yet laid. It was a new sepulchre, and no one had ever been buried there. Now, Arimathea, that was Jesus' uncle. And Jesus, when he was a young boy, would travel with his uncle across the oceans. So his uncle had this scepter, and he laid Jesus there. And there laid they Jesus, therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day. For the scepter was nigh at hand, it was nearby. Okay, guys. I love you.